Hey, everybody. I hope you are having a great day as you listen to this. This is Adina from the Immigrant Finance Podcast. Today, I am recording in our kitchen, which I never do, but I'm solo parenting this week. This weekend, Mao is in Ecuador, and I just got our daughter to nap. So I'm spreading out and enjoying the quiet space, the rare quietness of the weekend. And I wanted to share some thoughts with you all today about collapsing time. And we'll talk specifically about 3 strategies to collapse time and reach your goals. Now, first of all, what is collapsing time? It's basically when you make efforts and apply strategies and work on your mindset to reach your goals in a faster way, where you essentially take time out of the equation. So something that would normally take you, let's say, 3 years. Sometimes when you do this kind of work and do a lot of the inner work that comes with it, that we work on with our coaching students in Immigrant Finance School and Illuminate Digital, sometimes when we do that work, we start to become more of an energetic match for where we're meant to go. And it happens a lot more quickly than we expect. I actually see it all the time with our students who really do show up and do the hard work and, apply what we're teaching and really work on themselves in their wealth building journey, in their journeys to start businesses. A lot of times, very quickly, things start moving that we thought would take a lot longer. Like clients start showing up out of nowhere. People reach out of nowhere, asking to work with you. An amazing idea just lands on you out of nowhere, that kind of stuff. So this is a whole conversation on how you collapse time. But I do want to try to make these episodes a little quicker because I appreciate people are busy. So I will, as quickly as I can, talk about some things that have really worked for me for collapsing time, especially in the past few years. And the reason this is important is there's one resource that we'll never get back, and that is our time. So money comes and goes. We can lose money. We can make money. You can always get more money back if it goes away. We all focus too much on the money side, and we don't think about the time side, because that's the only thing we'll never get back is our time. And that is our most precious resource. And this is something wealthy people and people building wealth understand very well, because they know that, they need time to grow their money, right? And they don't want to lose time in that. They also know that they can shorten the time it takes by investing. And that can look like very different ways. Anything from, getting really motivated and focused to buy a rental property, to build passive income so that you can use that to live off of instead of a job, and building in that extra income that otherwise would have maybe taken you 40 years of saving, being able to do it in just a couple of years, right? Anything from something like that to investing in yourself, to learn strategies and tools that will help you reach your goals faster. And that's what I'm going to be focusing on primarily today. But this is something that we're really not taught in school, or often by our families or in society. No one's talking about this stuff. I've only learned this kind of stuff working from multiple coaches over the years who've really helped me grow as a person, as a business owner. And I have noticed, in the immigrant community in particular, this stuff is not talked about. We're taught very much in the culture, in our families, in society, and in immigration laws and how they dictate, immigrants having to be, unfortunately, sources of labor, oftentimes for this country in the format of capitalism and the harsh immigration laws, right? We're taught that we have to struggle and we have to work so hard, and it has to be so hard to reach our goals, and that it can't be that easy. And so that's something that can really actually has tripped up me a lot, and it trips up our students when you work on this kind of stuff and you do collapse time and the goals do happen faster. Is it can be really hard to receive that, because we have this deep subconscious programming in our brains that it has to be really hard. So even when you reach those goals, sometimes our brains will still freak out and and tell us the story. It's too good to be true. The shoe's gonna drop, or the other shoe's gonna drop, right? It can't last this long. It can't keep happening. If your business does start making money regularly, there's no way it will continue like this. Like, all of those stories come in, and that's a whole nother aspect of this to deal with. But to even get to that place, you first have to learn how to collapse time and make things happen the way you want more quickly. And in terms of the whole immigrant struggle piece of it, although I'm not an immigrant myself, I've definitely seen this a lot with my husband. Mao is an immigrant. And personally, I've had it really passed down through my immigrant family that's a few generations back. So for me, it was my great grandparents that immigrated to the US. They were very, very poor. My grandparents on both sides grew up very poor. For the next generation on my dad's side, my dad grew up really poor, right? And my mom's parents and then my dad were only able to get out of their situations by really honestly learning to collapse time and be entrepreneurs and have really big dreams and goals and do the mindset work to get there and to not have to wait, the 20 years it was supposed to take, but to learn how to be more creative and take some risks and see opportunities to collapse time for things to happen faster. So I definitely have had it passed down through all that, even though there's been, my grandparents, my mom's side, and my dad on his side, who were able to start applying some of this and get out of poverty. It's still passed down. So I still have it deeply ingrained in me that it has to be really, really hard to be successful, and that I have to work really, really hard. And so that's something I'm always dealing with and grappling with and working to improve on, that I'm able to help our coaching students with as well, who go through this. So how it's relevant for today's story about collapsing time and reaching your goals, I wanted to talk about my own experience with the coaching and how that played out. So this kind of funny story that I tell people sometimes when I notice they're doing the same thing, which is the first time I ever worked with a coach. I believe this was in 2017. And there was this coach I found who just really resonated with me. I had been listening to her podcast for about a year. I would watch, all of her Facebook and Instagram lives, and everything she offered. I was learning so much from, and at the time it was like exactly what I needed to be learning. And she was offering free consultation calls. So I did a call with her, and on that one call, she was able to hear, exactly what I was struggling with and where I felt stuck and where I wanted to go, and reflect that back to me, and just really heard me and understood me. And in that first call, she actually helped me come up with the idea for immigrant finance, which at the time I couldn't see myself. And we have to get her on sometime to talk about that story, by the way. But yeah, so I, knew that she was someone who could really help me with where I was and where I wanted to go. But I was very new to the coaching world, and I didn't understand the concept of investing in yourself. I had never heard it before. I had never really spent any money on myself before. I've been working in nonprofits for about 15 years. Very focused on helping others and putting others before myself. And so when it came time to talk about actually working with her in the next step and starting to take action on getting the goals I wanted to move forward, and basically, taking action to collapse time to get where I wanted to go, I couldn't comprehend it. It was like unheard of for me to invest in myself a significant amount to do that. And so what I ended up doing is I spent about a year continuing to hear all of her free content, her podcast, her lives, and all of that. And I would recommend her to like anyone I knew who was interested in similar stuff. So anybody who was blogging or kind of interested in the online space, interested in helping others online, I started raving about her to them and telling them how they had to work with her. And then it got to a point where it had been a year of that, and I was like, why am I telling all these other people to do something that I'm not willing to do myself. And she kind of called me out on it actually. And I had a moment where I had to just take that risk and go for it. Right. And so I did end up deciding a year after that to get started working with her and do her program that ended up being what allowed us to create immigrant finance in the very early days of it. And it happened. I mean, it was created because I took that step, but it was so, so scary for me. And I, now realize if I had only just knew about that concept of investing yourself and how that could collapse time and the importance of that earlier, we could have started immigrant finance a year earlier than that. And we wasted a whole year of not, doing the steps we needed to do to grow and fulfill our purpose. We wasted a whole year of not being able to help people who probably needed our help during that time. So yeah, I definitely learned my lesson. And since then, I have only continued to work with that same coach and now other coaches too, who on, various things. And it's really, really helped me grow immigrant finance and grow as a person. And so now I understand the power of getting support and how that's helped me to collapse time and get to my goals faster. And it's at a point now where it's just so obvious the impact that makes whenever I kind of reach a crossroads or reach a block or something that's holding me back from the next step. Getting the support on that and being able to move forward, it's just priceless. And you can't even put a number on that. So I don't even hesitate as much anymore. Recently, there was a coach that I wanted to work with on some systems, business coaching to help us build out the systems more in immigrant finance. And I knew from the first time I heard her talk that she was the right person to help me with that. So I had a call with her, and I wanted to think about a little bit because it was a very significant amount of money to invest. But I know, from multiple times doing this at this point that it's always worth it. And there's a saying, when you invest in yourself, the return is tenfold, because when you're taking that leap of faith and risk and putting money on the line and putting skin in the game, right? Because if you're paying for it and it's a lot of money, you're going to show up, you're going to do the work. And that means you're more likely to get the results that you want, and you're more likely to reach your goals faster. So at this point, I just know it's so effective that although this one I wanted to think about, I actually emailed this systems coach before our follow-up call where I was supposed to enroll. And I just said, hey, look, like, you could send me the link. I'm ready to do it now. And that's part of, I obviously want to be a good client for her, and I respect her and make her life easier. I don't want to waste her time having another sales call if I know that I want to do it. Right. But also on my end, that was a really important moment for me compared to, that first coach I worked with, I just talked about, where I delayed for a year. And so I wanted to make the decision as quick as possible, out of respect for myself, to say, you know what, you can trust yourself. If you had a gut instinct, this was the right person to help you with where you want to go. You don't need to ruminate and think about it. That's not going to get you anywhere. Thinking about it doesn't do anything, right? Like, how long does it take to have a thought? 1 second. Like, you can have a thought in a second. Like, we don't need weeks to think about big decisions. We just have to own our power and go for what we want, right? So that's why I emailed this new coach and said, send me the link. Like, let's get started. Let's do it. Right. And it just, I tell you that to show you how important this lesson's been for me and how seriously I take it, invest in myself. And how, if I'm asking others to invest in themselves, to work with us and work on their financial planning through immigrant finance, I need to do that with integrity, which means that I do it myself as well. So that's why I show up and I, invest in myself regularly, invest in growing our business to get the support that we need. And another example I wanted to share recently is we just hired a sleep coach to help us. We've been having a lot of sleep challenges with our 2.5-year-old. She was sleeping really great for about a year. And then since starting daycare, kept getting the daycare germs and getting sick. And her sleep has just not been great since then. And we've all been not sleeping, and it's gotten to a point where it's just really difficult. And so I applied what I've learned through business of like, hey, this doesn't have to be so hard. There are people who are experts in this who can help us. And I found someone who was exactly the right person, specialized in the area we needed. And I said, hey, this is what money's for, right? Like, why would we continue more months of not sleeping well, all of us as a family, which just makes everything more difficult if there's a solution here? So that's how you can, another example of how you can collapse time. And even within just like a week of applying some of her initial strategies, our daughter started sleeping so much better. Like everything throughout the day, all of her habits have got better. She's having less tantrums, and we haven't even started the actual coaching with her yet, right? So it's already been worth the money. We haven't even started. So I tell you all these examples from a personal place, being vulnerable, to show you all what it really takes and what it means to invest in yourself if you want to collapse time. And so many people are so afraid to do that they never take the jump ever, or they waste years like I did back in 2017 with the first coach I worked with. I wasted a year, right? Or some people never take the jump ever, and they are prevented from doing what they're meant to do in this life because of whatever block they're facing. They never get past it because they don't get the support they need. Right. So let's talk about 3 strategies for how you can collapse time and reach your goals based on some of these lessons here. So the first one is to get clarity on your goals, right? You can't get the support you need and invest in yourself to get the result that you want if you don't know what you want in the first place, right? So that's the most critical first step, and that's something only you can figure out on your own. No one can tell you what your goals are. Our goals are very personal. They're based on, our own values, our own preferences, our purpose in life, like why we're here, what we want, what we desire. And sometimes it's really hard to get clear on that. So like the most recent example I shared with the sleep coach, we've all been not sleeping well since March. At the time of this recording, it's August. So that was what, April, May, June, July, like 5 something months of not sleeping well because we were so in it and so stuck in it that it was really hard to get clear that was a goal, that we want to be sleeping better as a family. You would think it's more simple. You would think like after a week of that, but sometimes we just get so in it and we get that brain fog and we're just trying to survive and get through the day that we don't realize like, hey, this is an affirmative goal that I want this part of my life to be better. And a lot of people never let themselves get that clarity. So that would be the first step I would recommend, is to take some time and reflect, look at all the different areas of your life, your relationships, your health, your sleep, your money, your job, right? If you have a business or want to have a business, that, your time for relaxation, your time with your family and friends, your spirituality, your religion, whatever it is that's important to you. Look at all these areas and look at and see which are the ones where, they could be better, the weakest ones where you could see the most room for improvement, and zoom in on that area and get clear on like what exactly is your goal, what's going on currently, and what do you desire for it to be, and write it down. Writing it down makes it a lot more concrete to take action when we have that clarity on what the problem even is, right? So that's the first and biggest step. The second strategy for getting to a place where you can learn to collapse time is to lean into the power of support with others. And that doesn't necessarily have to mean hiring a coach if you're not ready for that. But we're not meant to do these things that are really hard in life alone. We are social creatures, right? We are meant to be in groups. That's how we're designed as humans. And we're meant to be supported. So find people who believe in you, who see the vision where you want to go, and who will support you, who will give you accountability, who will help you get out of your head when all you're able to see is the negative thoughts and the reasons it won't work and the reasons you're not good enough and the doubts and the fears, who can help you have some more perspective and who can help you take action. So maybe it's a friend that you can talk to, or a family member, or someone at work, or someone in your community, whoever it is. But think about what support systems do you currently have that you can lean on, and push yourself to talk to them about this issue. right? Because we need that support. We deserve that support. And it's so much harder and it takes so much longer when we try to do it on our own. So that's part of the recipe for collapsing time is you're going to get there faster if you have support, right? If you just try to do it on your own and figure it out and just stay in that struggle game, it's going to take you way longer. So remember, back to the beginning, our most precious resource is time. We're never going to get time back. So if having others support you can help you save time, why not go for it, right? So that's the second strategy for learning to collapse time. And they may be able to give you, like I said, other perspectives or some things you haven't thought about, or maybe share some of their experiences or connect you to someone who's had a similar experience who can guide you and give you some suggestions in a way that you would not have ever been able to figure out on your own. So lean into that and take some time. You can even write down right now, in this area I've identified where I want to get more clarity on my goal and I want to improve my life in this area. Who is someone who can provide support or who could maybe connect me to someone who can support me in this area? And I know this is a financial podcast, so it may be that it's your money area, your personal finances, your business, right? Your ideas to start a business, real estate, like whatever it is, this applies to any area of life, right? Including those. And a lot of times the other areas of life I haven't mentioned, like our relationships, our health, right? All of those things can actually affect our money and business and real estate and all that, because they're all connected and money is just energy. So it's often a reflection of where we're at in other areas of our life. The third strategy for how you can collapse time and reach your goals after you've gotten clarity on your goals and leaned into the power of support is the power of investing in support. So this is where it can come in to invest with a mentor or a coach who can guide you and get you there faster and help you collapse time. For me, that's been the number one way where I've been able to grow as a person and grow immigrant finance is by investing in support for people who can get us there faster for our goals, who can show us the way. And there's a few reasons for that. First of all, when you invest, especially when you invest a significant amount of money, you have skin in the game. You're going to show up and do the work because you've paid for it. And it's kind of like you're sending out this energy to the universe of like, I am making a decision to take this area of my life seriously. So sometimes even just making the choice to invest in yourself in this area can kick off a lot of progress and results before you even get to the work. I see that often with our students in our programs, especially in immigrant finance school. People have been avoiding their finances for years. It's been a huge source of anxiety and stress in their life. And then they make the decision that they're going to enroll in the program and do the work and get their finances in order. Often things start opening up and things start coming together with their finances and their income streams in this really fast way before they've even really implemented a lot of the strategies. Of course, the strategies are going to help them know exactly what to do step by step and definitely get there faster. But there's an energetic effect that happens when you invest in yourself and you're taking yourself seriously and you're taking this area of your life seriously. And you have that incentive to show up because you've invested for it, right? That's probably the most effective part of investing. But the other piece too is like, it does take money to work with people who are experienced and who have expertise and specialize in areas who can help you, right? Like, people, deserve to be paid for their time, right? And so we have to pay for that, right? To work with the right people, the best people who can get us where we want to go, right? And often the results in these areas, these really, complicated areas we can be held back in life, those results you get from working with someone like that are often worth way more than the amount you invested, even if it's a significant amount. That's what I've seen so far with every coach I've decided to work with, that the results are way, way more valuable than the money that was paid, right? Especially if it means that you're able to get to your goals faster and collapse time, because again, time is our most precious resource. You can't even put a money number on it because it's just something we'll never get back, right? So I hope this was helpful to think a little bit more about how you can reach your goals more quickly and collapse time by, again, getting clear in your goals, leaning into the power of support, and then embracing the power of investing to get support. If you are looking to work on your finances and your business development, we offer free 30-minute consultations where we would be happy to sit down and chat with you and go over what your current situation is, what your desired situation is, right? Where you want to go, and get clarity on what is the gap between those, how you can get there, and have some concrete next steps. We're happy to help out. So you can book a time that works best for you at immigrantfinance.com/consult, and we can't wait to connect and get started. Best of luck with collapsing time. And if you found this episode helpful, please do let us know. We love hearing from you all, and your feedback is so appreciated. You can always send us a message over on Instagram at immigrant.finance. Thanks and take care.